Hello everyone. Today the topic we are sharing is that examine the effects of listening instructions with the variation of speech rate on second language listening comprehension. So this is the introduction part. First of all, second language listening comprehension is a complex cognitive process. It requires listeners to play an active role in interpreting the message. Comprehension is affected by individual characteristics, for example, the vocabulary knowledge and test features such as the speech rate and repetition. For EFL learners, listening can be challenging to develop because of the limited access to comprehensible input. So, listening instruction can address these challenges and improve second language listening performance. Therefore, the current study investigated the effects of these three pre-listening instructions and intended to unpack how second language listening performance could be enhanced. So for the literature review, the first instruction we pay attention to is the repetition of input, which means playing the listening materials twice. We know that repeating listening materials is a common pedagogical approach in English class. Previous research generally showed that RI has a positive effect on listening performance. They found that RI reduced the test stress of the subjects, allow EFL learners to have more time to process the material and to clarify the syntax of sentences, and to check their comprehension. The second instruction is the vocabulary preview, which refers to difficult vocabulary instructions before processing the material. But there are some contradictory findings about the effects of VP. Although some research concludes that vocabulary instruction enhanced the listening comprehension significantly, Lee in TEFL 20 suggests that vocabulary preparation had little effect on listening performance, but only boosted their differences and confidence. And vocabulary instruction did not improve their performance, although students reported willingness to receive vocabulary instruction in chant and read findings. Except for individual listening support strategies, it is possible to consider the potential effect of combining two listening supports, VP and RI, which refers to employing both the two listening instructions, VP and RI. Little research done on the effect of combining these two listening instructions. However, it's still limited, shown in TEFL 2020 is similar to some extent, which investigated the effects of combining three pre-listening activities. It suggests that the combination of three pre-listening activities, including vocabulary preview and question preview and topic preparation, has more salient effect than the related three single pre-listening activities. And then the current study also focused on the speech rate of the playback. In Griffith's research, comprehension has an inverse relationship with speech rate. The slower the speech, the greater the comprehension.
We go to the methodology part. A total of 77 EFL Chinese students at the same English proficiency level joined this experiment. They were divided into two groups. Group 1 was provided English listening tasks in the original speech, and Group 2 was exposed to slowed-down version. The listening materials were selected from the National College Entrance Exam, and they were all MC questions. About the procedures. Participants were asked to complete 4 listening tasks in this order. No instruction, which was the control group, listening to the audio twice, receiving a vocabulary preview and listening to the audio for 1 time, and lastly, receiving a vocabulary preview and listening to the audio twice. Finally, they have 5 minutes to transfer their answers to the answer sheet. For the data analysis part, students' answer sheets were manually scored. We use SPSS for both descriptive and inferential analysis. About inferential statistics, pair sample t-tests were conducted to probe the mean difference among four groups. Independent sample t-tests were conducted to examine whether different speech rates could influence test takers' listening performance. About the research question 1, the differences in comprehension for receiving various listening instructions, the value of skewness and kurtosis indicates the dataset is normally distributed, which could be used for further analysis. Look at the table. The repetition of in-group group outperformed than the control group, while the vocabulary preview group and the combined group performed worse than the control group. This result revealed that test takers who received the support of RI tended to get a higher score in the listening test. The comprehensions for CT, VP, and RI-VP are statistically equivalent. Addressing the second research questions based on the mean ST and significance level, we found that the slow speed group performance is worse than the original speed group, and these are our results.
After talking about the results, let's go to the discussion part. Addressing the first research question about repetition of the input, it is the most effective one. There are several possible reasons accounting for this. First, these Chinese English learners are familiar to this strategy, since it has been their routine to be exposed to listening materials that are played twice during their English tests. Second, by repeating the audio, participants got a second chance catching what they had missed in the first play or checking the answer. Third, knowing the audio will be played twice reduces listeners' pressure and anxiety. Finally, the second playback gives listeners time to build high-order cognitive processes about what they have listened. Vocabulary preview was demonstrated that it cannot facilitate students' listening performance, and there are three related reasons. First, students were not familiar with this strategy before tests. Also, previewed vocabularies and unfamiliar vocabularies tended to mismatch, resulted in decreased effectiveness. Lastly, although visual and acoustic stimuli were provided on screen, students cannot be so attentive since no penalty or reward related to it. The combination of RI and VP doesn't make a significant influence on their listening performance. Instead, it showed a cancelled-out effect of the positive RI and negative VP. This may also relate to students' unfamiliarity with the combined strategy. As to research question 2, comparing the mean value of the two sections, it shows that the slow speed section performed worse than the listening materials of the original speed. The result is inconsistent with some previous researches. There are two possible reasons for the result. First, when students listening to the slow speed audio playback, they had to extend their length of accurate memory correspondingly and pay more attention in order to correctly answer the questions. Second, changing the playback speed manually can also make it sound unnatural, which might affect listeners' listening performance. In conclusion, research question 1 reconfirms the previous research of RI being an effective listening support, and VP has a negative effect on listeners' listening performance. The effect of RI plus VP was not significant, as it shows a cancelled-out result of RI and VP. Research question 2 shows that listeners perform worse when exposed to slow-speed listening materials under all the conditions. We have listed two limitations here that needed to be acknowledged. One is the narrow context of the study. Participants were EFL students from two sections of the R stream, which restricts the degree of generalization of results to larger EFL learner groups. And another is the length of the experiment. Subjects were only given 4 questions each listening paragraph, which restricts the result to show more detailed information. Future studies are encouraged to solve these problems. That's all for our presentation. Thank you for your attention, and here's our reference.